I'd like to call this meeting of the Muscle Shoals City Board of Education to order.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, and I present to the board the agenda for tonight's meeting for your approval.
Okay, the superintendent has presented the agenda for our approval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second? And a second. Do we have any discussion? No discussion, so let's take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there's none, so the agenda has been approved.
All right, I have no correspondence and no resolutions to present tonight, but we do have a special presentation from Muscle Shoals Middle School, so I will recognize Principal Diana Ritter. And Mr. Meckles, if you would please present her video.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might drag you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Good job. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. That middle school is a busy place, isn't it? All right, moving on to our business action items on the consent agenda resolution. For the consent agenda, the board has been furnished with background material on each item or has discussed the item at a previous meeting. Consent agenda items will be acted upon with one vote without discussion. If a board member wants to discuss any item, it will be pulled from the consent agenda and voted on separately. For the consent agenda items, we have the minutes from the October 25th meeting, the bills and accounts for both September and October, the financial report for both September and October, and those bank statements have been reconciled. We have a declaration of surplus items and the purchase of a vehicle. Does any board member wish to pull anything from the consent agenda and vote on it separately? Hearing none, Mr. President, I recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented.
All right, we have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Let's take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's none, so the consent agenda has been approved.
All right, thank you, sir. And I recommend item B, the personnel report as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the personnel report. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the personnel report as presented.
Thank you. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second. Any discussion? There's none, so let's take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there's none, so the personnel report has been approved.
All right, for the benefit of the audience, the personnel report consists of the following. Under leave of absence, Tracy Montgomery, English teacher at Muscle Shoals High School through November the 29th. Under resignation retirement, Cynthia Fizzackerly, art teacher, serving McBride, Highland Park, and Webster. Jill Archer, middle school teacher, 6th grade. Philip Vandiver, custodian assigned to Muscle Shoals High School. That's retiring effective January the 1st. And David Waters, teacher, Muscle Shoals High School, band director, retirement effective May the 1st. That one was a little hard to say for sure. Employment, under item 3, Carrie Rickman, teacher, 6th grade at Muscle Shoals Middle School. Under reassignment and transfer, Ricky Golston, from 260-day system-wide custodian at the middle school to the same day assignment assigned to Muscle Shoals High School. That'll be effective January the 3rd. Under other special appointments or supplemental assignment, we had a clerical error from a previous meeting, just a name change that we needed to make. Carly Phelps was incorrectly listed as Carly Phillips. Then we had Alexa Johnson, part-time temporary system-wide EL aide. And then we have the 2021-22 radio broadcast duties for Tim Underwood and Tony Word. Some non-staff coaching assignments to assist our regular coaching staff in tennis, Sandra Kirk, Jackson Hall, and Carly Smith. And then Rebecca Henson to oversee the operations of the concession stand for the 21-22 basketball season. And then for information only, not a board action item, Samantha Frederick will fill the elementary art leave that you approved earlier for the resignation. Samantha Frederick will be doing that through Kelly Staffing. And that'll be for the remainder of the fall term at this point. All right. And then the next item is the superintendent's report. So just a few things to mention. First of all, just some student accolades that I want to mention. Joe Don Anderson has been named a semifinalist for the U.S. Senate Youth Program, and that's a big deal for him. He's one of 11 students in the state who will interview for a week-long public service and leadership and educational experience with the U.S. Senate, and he's the 4th student in MSHS history to be selected for this honor. So we're excited for him and wish him well. Speaking of Joe Don Anderson, also he and Emma Veal and Graham West were nominated for the DAR Good Citizen Award at the high school, and they had their Veterans Day program the other night, and Graham West was selected as the DAR Good Citizen. So congratulations to him. Amber Grace Holsey, Luke Peoples were selected as the high school Heisman winners. So that's a good accolade for them from the sports perspective. Mariana Trimble, Harper Branscombe, Connor McCrary, all 3 qualified and ran at the state cross country meet. So congratulations to them. Just some fine arts mentions here. The band finished their marching competition season with superior ratings and best in class awards at the Hoover Invitational. And then they competed at the state marching band competition. I guess that was last weekend, but they came in 2nd place in 6A. So we commend them. Always place well and do well in all of their performances, but the state competition, they've always been very competitive in that. Congratulations to band student Heather Medlin for receiving the District 1 Music Educator Scholarship for music educators, future music educators, and she'll now compete for a statewide scholarship. And then I'm not going to read all of these names, but you've got them in your packet. They will be entered into the minutes of our board meeting. But the District Trumbauer Theater Festival that we had several students compete in, a lot of accolades from that, a lot of first and second place winners and superior ratings. And so you have all that information, but just Ms. Bradford and that program, and now Mr. Wilder has come on board to help from McBride in the middle school. They're just doing a great job. And I'll mention the show choir performance. If you haven't seen it yet, it's phenomenal. What I saw today, I watched a little of the matinee while I was at the high school. As soon as this is over, I'm going to go maybe catch the rest of it, but it is phenomenal. I've heard such great things about it, and I just commend them for the job they're doing. On November the 9th, I attended the fall art show at Muscle Shoals Middle School. Ms. Grinnell there and her 6th through 8th grade students just did an awesome job. If you got a chance to go by and see that, and we definitely have a lot of talented art students, both in the fine arts and even the visual arts in our school system. We've got middle school home basketball tonight. I know the varsity basketball season is about to get underway. I think their first home game, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Davis, but the first home game is the day after Thanksgiving against Brooks. If that's correct. If Brooks is still playing football. Gotcha. Okay. So home basketball is coming up, but that season's about to get underway. So hope you get a chance to catch some of those games. We are once again working with Parkview Baptist Church to offer meals to our students that have food insecurities for the holidays. If you'll remember, we did that last year for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and spring break. We'll send home food with students that have been identified across the district by our guidance counselors, our school counselors. And so we are doing that again. The counselors met today, actually, and did a lot of planning and preparation for that. And Ms. Jolene Fretwell from the Career Academy is also helping to coordinate. She's connected to the church, and I think they may even be assembling those bags in her classroom tonight. I know that they were being delivered tonight, and they may do some of that work tomorrow. But we got a lot of our students that have their hand in that. They're going to be involved in it, and we'll be distributing those meals from the auditorium here. I think we decided on Thursday to do that. So appreciate everybody's work in that. Do want to remind the board members about the retiree luncheon. That'll be held Friday at 12 o'clock at Grace Life Church. We weren't able to have it last year because of COVID, and we're going to do it differently this year because of COVID, but we are going to do it, and we've had a really good response. A lot of our retirees, I think they're ready to break out and come get together again. So is that you, Dr. Rudolph? Yeah, no offense. Just ready to break out. So, but you're obviously invited to be a part of that. We'll have a good meal together, and so looking forward to that. This is American Education Week. You don't hear a whole lot about American Education Week, but it is a time to celebrate, all things related to public education and just how vital it is to the future of our country for sure. But this week, our schools are really focused on recognizing support personnel, and particularly our substitute teachers. That's a group that sometimes gets forgotten in the giving thanks and that sort of thing to people who work in the schools. But I'm going to tell you, if it had not been for substitute teachers, and I know we had to close down a few times because of staffing shortages, but our substitute teachers have really come through for us in a lot of ways. And we just want to, take our hat off to them and thank them for all that they do and serve in our schools and show them how much we appreciate them. I know some have been doing like a little substitute teacher of the month and focusing on them during the week or the month and on social media, and it's been a really good thing. You've probably seen by now the State Board of Education did meet and set the cut score for third grade. Dr. Woods and I briefed you guys on that at the last meeting, and remember then it wasn't official. Well, now it's official. So they have cut the score, set the cut score, but as you probably also saw, Governor Ivey and even some of the opponents to delaying the retention piece are now in favor of delaying the retention piece for third grade. So we'll see how that all plays out when the legislature convenes after the first of the year, but it just seems very likely that's what's going to happen, at least with this group of third graders. So just stay tuned to see how that develops. And then I just want to, you've seen your financial statements. Our school system, we've had a tough 20 months or so with COVID and those kind of things. Thankfully, because of some funds from the federal government, that sort of thing, I know that's definitely helped keep our school system financially strong. But I definitely wanted to thank Ms. Langley and her financial leadership and her team up there. We were kind of projected to be at a 2.0 months operating expenses, but we are above that, which is what you want. You want to be above. And so I just appreciate her work and the work of all of these administrators. Because I talked to her about it today when she told me she wasn't going to be able to be here tonight. I said, well, I was going to mention you in the meeting. And of course, her response was, well, couldn't do it without a great team of administrators too, because everybody's doing their part, trying to, watch our pennies and stretch them as far as we can go, but invest those dollars where they need to be invested, and that's in the classroom. And I think that's what we've done with our academic recovery plan. So I know that was a lot. Apologize for that, but it's just a lot of things going on, a lot of good things going on. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, December the 16th. That's what the schedule says. So be a few weeks before we're back together, unless we need to get together for a special called meeting, and we may very well need to do that, but we'll put out due notice if that takes place. And with that, Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you for that report. Does any board member have any additional business that we need to address tonight? So with that, we have concluded our agenda, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.